What if I told you that one of the most lethal, hard-working, and complete strikers of the last 20 years was consistently overlooked, overshadowed, and denied the very spotlight he so richly deserved? This is the story of a warrior, a goal machine whose legacy is still debated. By the end of this journey, I want you to tell me where he truly stands. So if you love stories of grit, passion, and undeniable talent, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss what's coming. The right transfer, the perfect move. It's the razor's edge on which a footballer's entire career can balance. You can be supremely talented, a model of consistency, a force of nature on the pitch. But if you don't conquer Europe while wearing the crest of an all-time great club, there will always be whispers. There will always be doubters questioning your place in the pantheon of legends. And that right there is why we have to talk about Edinson Cavani. In my heart, he's one of the most profoundly underrated players of his generation. Today, I want to take you on a journey through his career, through the goals, the glory, and the frustrating moments of being pushed to the side. I want to lay it all out for you, and when we're done, I need to hear from you in the comments. Does he belong in that same rarefied air as Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Robert Lewandowski, and his own countryman, Luis Suarez? Is he a true contender for the title of the best striker of the last decade? Our story begins on, of all days, Valentine's Day in the city of Salto, Uruguay. In a twist of fate, this is the very same city that gave the world Luis Suarez. And here's another little quirk for you, the name the world would come to chant. Cavani was from his father's side. His actual last name is Gomez, taken from his mother. Growing up in Salto with two older brothers setting the pace, a young Edinson lived the classic life of the youngest sibling. He was constantly running, chasing, and fighting for the ball in the streets against bigger, stronger kids. Those rough-and-tumble games were his real training ground. They forged a mentality of steel, an unbreakable will to compete. The tight, narrow streets of his neighborhood demanded creativity, forcing him to develop a sharp, intuitive technique just to survive. By the time he was 13, he was ready. He joined the youth team of Danubio FC, and it was a massive step. Getting into Danubio's academy wasn't a walk in the park. It was the best in Montevideo, a legendary proving ground that had already produced Uruguayan icons like Alvaro Recoba and the great Diego Forlan. Shining through that level of competition was an even tougher challenge. But Cavani was built for it. For 5 grueling years, he ground it out, taking every single step, climbing every rung of the ladder, until finally he reached the first team. From his very first year as a professional, it was blindingly obvious that this kid was different. He wasn't just good. He was exceptional. He exploded onto the scene, scoring 12 goals and becoming a vital piece in Danubio's triumphant run to the 2006 Apertura title. The roar of the home crowd, the feeling of lifting that first piece of silverware. It was intoxicating. And his reward, a call-up to the Uruguayan national team for the Under-20 South American Championship. The tournament started with a stinging defeat to Venezuela. I can only imagine that loss lit a fire in his belly, because from that moment on, Cavani went on an absolute tear. Over the next 6 matches against continental powerhouses like Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia, he was unstoppable. He played in every single one of those games, and he scored in each and every one. The ball just seemed to find him, and he never missed his mark. Uruguay looked destined to win the whole thing with Cavani leading the charge. But football can be a cruel game. A heartbreaking defeat in injury time against their rivals. Argentina on the final match day sent them tumbling down to 3rd place. Despite the team's disappointment, Cavani had made his statement. He easily topped the goal-scoring charts, and a clear warning had been sent to the footballing world. A new generation of attacking power was brewing in Uruguay. and Edinson Cavani was its spearhead. The offers started pouring in. The phone rang with calls from giants like Juventus and AC Milan, historic clubs with trophy cabinets groaning under the weight of history. But Cavani, ever thoughtful, ever cautious, chose a different path. He decided to play it safe, to ease himself into the demanding world of European football. He joined the Sicilian club Palermo for a fee of 4.5 million euros. Now it's easy to look back and think of Palermo as a smaller club, especially considering their recent struggles in the lower tiers of Italian football. But back then, they were a serious outfit. They had just finished an impressive 5th in Serie A and boasted future legends like Salvatore Sirigu in goal and Andrea Barzagli in defense. Breaking into that starting 11 was never going to be easy for a young foreign import. For his first season and a half, Cavani was primarily used as an impact player from the bench, learning the league, adapting to the pace and the tactical nuances of Italian football. His moment finally came when the club's main striker, Amori, departed for Juventus in 2008. The stage was now his. That same year, Cavani earned his full senior debut for Uruguay. It was against Colombia, and in a magical, almost prophetic display, he showed the world the devastating potential of his partnership with Luis Suarez. With Uruguay trailing by 2 goals, the 2 men from Salto took over. In the space of just 8 breathtaking minutes, they each found the back of the net, dragging their country back from the brink of defeat. It was a stunning comeback that set a thrilling precedent for the decade of dominance that was to come for La Celeste. Back in Sicily, the Palermo fans, the Rossonero, were still nursing a collective heartache. They were thrilled with their team's revival, but they deeply missed their former hero Luca Toni. The giant Italian striker had arrived from Brescia in 2003 and had become a god. He single-handedly fired them to promotion with an incredible 30 league goals, then broke their Serie A scoring record with 21 more, securing their place in the UEFA Cup. His boots were colossal ones to fill. Amori had managed to soften the blow of his departure, but with him now gone too, a palpable fear settled over the Stadio Renzo Barbera. Could this young, slender Uruguayan possibly carry that weight? The answer was a resounding yes. Despite being just 20 years old, Cavani shouldered the responsibility with a maturity far beyond his years. He netted 14 league goals in his first full season as a starter. His intelligent movement and clinical finishing powering Palermo to a respectable 8th-place finish. He wasn't just a replacement. He was a new kind of hero. The following season, he got even better. Cavani put up similar numbers, but his all-around play, his relentless work rate, and his link-up with his teammates elevated the entire squad. They fought, they scrapped, and they dreamed, finishing just 2 agonizing points short of a historic qualification for the Champions League. This monumental achievement once again put Cavani's name on the lips of every major director in Europe. The bids came flying in. Eventually a deal was struck. Napoli, a club with a soul as passionate and fiery as the volcano that overlooks their city, paid a staggering 17 million euros. He was now their record signing, and the hopes of a city were placed squarely on his shoulders. What a moment that must have been for him. Here's a player who chose the safer path to Europe, and now, just a few years later, he's the record signing for one of Italy's most historic clubs. If you were in his shoes, would you have taken the riskier move to a giant like Milan or Juventus from the start, or was his calculated approach the right one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But before he could pull on that famous light blue shirt, there was the small matter of his first international tournament, the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. This should have been his grand introduction to the global stage, a chance to shine under the brightest lights. But with the legendary Diego Forlan enjoying the tournament of his life and Luis Suarez grabbing headlines for his own brilliance and controversy, Cavani found himself in a supporting role. He worked tirelessly for the team, of course, but he was a secondary character in a story dominated by others. Even as Uruguay captured the hearts of the world with their incredible run to a fourth-place finish. Back at the club level, the move to Naples was like pouring gasoline on a fire. His goal-scoring instincts exploded. In his first 3 starts for Napoli, he scored 4 times, including a magnificent brace on his first-ever start, a crucial match where a win was needed to qualify for the Europa League. The fans at the São Paulo were already falling in love. If those initial performances had lifted their hopes, what came next sent them into orbit. Cavani ended his debut season with an astonishing 26 league goals and 4 hat-tricks across all competitions. He was a force of nature. He bagged 2 of those hat-tricks against hated rivals Juventus and Lazio, moments that were instrumental in Napoli's incredible third-place finish. This achievement propelled them into the Champions League for the first time since a certain Diego Armando Maradona had graced their pitch. And you know how it is in Naples. Anytime your name is mentioned in the same breath as Maradona, it means you have achieved something truly, truly special. Once the club's season ended, it was time for the Copa America. The Uruguayan faithful were buzzing. After Forlan's heroics at the World Cup, Suarez's blistering start at Liverpool, and Cavani's godlike form for Napoli, there was a genuine belief that this golden trio could bring the trophy home. The tactical setup was fascinating. Suarez and Cavani were deployed on the flanks, their incredible work rate and willingness to track back allowing them to accommodate Forlan, who would often drop deep into a number 10 role, pulling the strings before the 2 wingers would slash inside to partner up in the middle. It was fluid, it was dynamic, and it was devastating. Tragedy struck for Cavani when he picked up an injury in the group stage, a cruel blow that sidelined him for the knockout rounds. But every dark cloud has a silver lining. He found his in a race against time, working furiously to be fit for the final. He made it. In the championship match against Paraguay, he returned to the side and Uruguay triumphed, winning their first major trophy since 1995. The image of him trophy held aloft, a champion of South America, was a testament to his resilience. He carried that champion's momentum into the next season. He started with a bang, scoring a stunning hat-trick against AC Milan and a crucial opening goal against Manchester City in the Champions League. He was simply on another level, eventually matching the incredible 33-goal tally from his first season. Although Napoli couldn't quite secure a return to the Champions League through their league position, they found glory elsewhere. They won the Coppa Italia with Cavani, of course, opening the scoring in the final against Juventus. It was their first major trophy in 25 years. The city of Naples erupted in pure, unadulterated joy. The fans were ecstatic. Edinson Cavani was no longer just a star signing. He was officially a club legend, a king in a city that worships its heroes. Their Champions League campaign was a valiant effort, too. They fought their way out of a tough group and only went out in the round of 16 after a dramatic extra-time battle against the eventual winners, Chelsea. His 3rd season in Naples would be his final one, and he saved his best for last. He decided to take things to a level that was frankly superhuman. By February, he had already played 26 matches and had only failed to score in 7 of them. He had racked up an incredible 27 goals, cementing his reputation as a big game player with decisive hat-tricks against both Lazio and Roma. Napoli were breathing down the necks of the league leaders, just 3 points from first place. The dream of a Scudetto felt tantalizingly real. But then disaster. For the next month, Cavani hit a dry spell. The goals dried up, and in his absence, Napoli's title charge completely fell apart. Just 6 league matches without him finding the net saw them plummet to 11 points off the top. It was a brutal demonstration of just how utterly dependent they were on his goals. Even as Cavani roared back to life, finishing the season with a blistering run of 11 goals in his final 9 games, including another hat-trick against Inter Milan, the damage had been done. The league was lost. It's such a shame they didn't win it. A Serie A title, the Scudetto, would have been the crowning achievement of his time in Italy, a just reward for a player who had given so much to the city. But where he was going next, league titles would be much, much easier to come by. Stories like these of players who give their absolute all for a club are what make football so special. If you love deep dives into the careers of legendary players and the dramatic moments that define them, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story from our channel. Seeing the sheer unstoppable force he had become at Napoli, Paris Saint-Germain, then in the early ambitious years of their massive squad rebuild, came calling. They paid a colossal 64 million euros for the Uruguayan striker, a fee that at the time made him the 6th most expensive player in the history of football. That kind of investment, that kind of statement, would make you think he was being brought in to be the undisputed star, the centerpiece of their entire project. But that wasn't the case. For the first 3 years of his time in Paris, Cavani was shunted out to the wing, first on the right, then later on the left. He was always playing in service to the towering ego and undeniable talent of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who demanded to be the central striker, the focal point of every attack. Looking back, those years feel like such a waste of his prime. Cavani, one of the most natural number 9s on the planet, was forced to become a wide forward. His goal tally inevitably dropped even though he was playing for a much stronger team in a less competitive league. Still, his quality shone through. He managed to score a very respectable 81 goals in 147 matches and collected a staggering 10 domestic titles, a haul that helped to offset the lack of team silverware during his time at Napoli. And then the fun started. Ibra left for Manchester United, and Cavani, now 29 years old, was finally handed the keys to the kingdom. He was moved into his natural position, center stage, and he absolutely exploded. He went on a rampage, scoring an incredible 41 goals in 42 domestic matches. It was a breathtaking display of finishing that easily earned him the league's top scorer award and the prestigious Player of the Year award. In a strange twist of irony, however, it was the one year that PSG somehow failed to win the league title, being outdone by Leonardo Jardim's electrifying Monaco side, which featured a young Kylian Mbappé, Radamel Falcao, and Bernardo Silva. In the Champions League, he was equally, if not more, impressive. He plundered 8 goals in just 8 matches, finishing right up there, with Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi on the top scorers podium. This was despite PSG crashing out in the round of 16 in the most infamous of circumstances. He scored in both legs against Barcelona, but was ultimately powerless to stop the historic remontada as Barcelona miraculously overturned a 4-0 first-leg defeat. The transfer market that followed could have gone either way for Cavani. PSG went on a legendary spending spree, shelling out close to 400 million euros to bring in both Neymar and Kylian Mbappé. The world watched on, wondering, would Cavani fit in with these 2 megastars to form the most terrifying attacking trio in history? Or would we once again see him struggle to share the spotlight, to coexist with other massive personalities? Well, what we got was something in the middle. On one hand, Cavani maintained his absolutely incredible goal-scoring form. In the 19 matches that followed the first match day of that season, he scored 23 goals. That is an absurd rate of streak that included an unbelievable 7 braces. But on the other hand, the clashes we had feared did materialize. We saw Cavani and Neymar clashing on the pitch, arguing over who was the superior dead ball specialist, their strong alpha male personalities visibly grating against each other. And as for PSG and their ultimate objective, well, they comfortably won the league back, but the Champions League remained an elusive dream. Despite Cavani scoring 6 goals in 6 group stage matches, they drew the reigning champions Real Madrid in the round of 16. With Cristiano Ronaldo at the peak of his powers, scoring 3 times across the 2 legs, PSG were swiftly and unceremoniously knocked out before they could even make a real impression. It seemed that no matter what they did, no matter how much money they spent, they just couldn't crack the Champions League code. That summer brought the 2018 World Cup, and we got to witness Cavani's best-ever performance in the tournament. He was magnificent, scoring 2 brilliant goals against Portugal in the round of 16 to send Cristiano Ronaldo's team home. Uruguay's journey eventually ended in the quarter-finals against the eventual champions France. But Cavani had shown. This tournament was also the culmination of a qualifying campaign where he had carried his nation. With Luis Suarez missing several games due to injury and suspension, the responsibility fell on Cavani's shoulders. He delivered in spectacular fashion, scoring 10 goals to finish as the top scorer in the brutal South American qualifying rounds. That kind of resilience and national pride is exactly what makes us love this game. If you found his fight for his country as inspiring as I did, why not share this video with a fellow football fan who appreciates a true warrior's story? The following season, the physical toll of his relentless career began to show. He was hit by 6 different injuries, forcing him to miss 16 matches. At 32 years of age, it was becoming obvious to some that perhaps he was too old to be relied upon as the main man. Still, through all the setbacks, he still managed to score 23 goals in 33 matches and add another league title to his collection. By this point, however, the writing was on the wall. He was clearly being seen as a squad player, a backup option. I would have expected him to leave in search of a new challenge to be the star again. But he stayed for one more season. It was a difficult year. The injuries kept coming, and he was seriously pushed to the side, playing just a little over 1,000 minutes across the entire campaign. And so we arrive at what was then the present day, where Cavani, a free agent, joined Manchester United, taking on the iconic, and some would say, cursed number 7 shirt. Ever since Cristiano Ronaldo had left, no matter how big the name of the player who tried to wear it, they had failed to live up to the astronomical expectations. At first, it seemed like Cavani would struggle too. After his first 28 matches in Manchester, he had as many goals as he did injuries, ironically, 7 of each. But then over the final month of that season, something clicked. A fire was rekindled. Many started to claim that the curse had finally been broken. Cavani began to form a lethal partnership with Bruno Fernandes, producing incredible results. He racked up 10 goals and assists in his last 7 matches, a stunning run of form. Most importantly, he delivered a masterclass against Roma in the Europa League semi-final, scoring 4 goals and providing 2 assists over the 2 legs to send Manchester United to the final. It was a performance that reminded many football fans of how a 30-something Zlatan Ibrahimovic had also arrived from Paris to lead United to that very same trophy. And thankfully, unlike the Swede, Cavani got to play in the final. It has been one hell of a career for Edinson Cavani, a fascinating journey, though often for frustrating reasons. He is such a unique and compelling player. His slender athletic frame sets him apart from the stockier strikers of his generation. He's a beautiful blend of predatory speed and surprising strength. And while he has sometimes been criticized for missing chances, his movement is so good that he creates countless opportunities for himself, making him an incredibly opportunistic finisher. Impressively, he manages to couple all of this attacking prowess with an incredible lung-busting work rate and a substantial amount of defensive dedication. He presses from the front with the energy of a teenager. I've always had this feeling, this nagging thought, that if Edinson Cavani had been given the chance to play in the role of a player like Cristiano Ronaldo or Robert Lewandowski, to be the undisputed main man in a truly great squad for more than just 1 or 2 seasons at a time, he would have blossomed into something truly special. Something absolutely unforgettable. So far, that perfect opportunity has never quite materialized, and perhaps now it is too late. but still in my book. Edinson Cavani is a player of the very same caliber of talent as many of the best strikers of the last decade. He's a legend. He is a warrior. He is a player worth remembering for generations to come. And that's where this incredible football story concludes. What a journey, right? I'm so eager to hear your thoughts. What moment stood out to you the most? Did this player's struggle resonate with you? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you.